This butter is only half fat, but it tastes lovely. Like real butter, and it spreads.
It's because it is real butter, Dad, just with half the fat.
Connacht Gold half-fat butter. Make it real.
So a very good evening to you, and you're welcome to St. Joseph's Park in Knockmore. It's a beautiful Saturday evening as the county champions welcome Aghamore to North Mayo for the opening round of the Connacht Gold Mayo Senior Club Football Championship. It's Group 2 action coming up over the next hour or so. A group that is extremely unpredictable on paper, and this evening is a really big chance for one of these two teams to take a big step in the right direction and set themselves up nicely for a crack at the playoffs of this year's championship. But going by their league meeting 7 weeks ago, a game that finished in a draw here between Knockmore and Aghamore, we're expecting a very, very close game, and who knows what will unfold between now and when Declan Corcoran blows his final whistle a little later on this evening. Now, before we go any further, we're just going to take a quick check on the teams, beginning with Knockmore, the home side, and as you'll see, manager Ray Dempsey has gone with a very, very strong selection. In fact, 14 of this 15 started the county final win over Brafey some 12 months ago. The odd man out, as it were, is number 2, Marcus Park. He comes in to replace the injured Alan Stadler, and the one late change you'll have seen there on the graphic as well. Number 18, Keith Rutledge, who wasn't named initially in the starting team. He does now take his place in the Knockmore attack, with Alan Loftus dropping to the bench. It's a very familiar looking Knockmore team, and good to see the Mayo senior panellists Kevin McLaughlin and Darren McHale taking their places at number 8 and number 11, while Aidan Norm, number 14, also of course came off the bench in the closing stages of Mayo's defeat to Tyrone. That's the Knockmore team. Their subs bench, well, it will include Alan Loftus now, who wears 13. The veteran Kieran Langan, wearing 23, is back for another season as well. And keep an eye out for number 24, Charlie Burke, who's come through the Knockmore Underage Academy. Very talented inside forward, and a man who I'm led to believe we may well see before the evening is out. That's the Knockmore squad. That's the Knockmore team in terms of how Ray Dempsey intends to send them into battle. We'll now take a look at the Aghamore line-out. Their manager, Paddy Finnegan, well, he is going with 9 of the team that started Aghamore's last championship game. That was against Ballina Stephenites in the quarter-final last season, a game that got away from Aghamore the longer it went on. But it's a new season and a new start, and Paddy Finnegan already putting his stamp on this Aghamore team. Brendan Harrison, number 3, didn't play a championship game with Aghamore last season due to injury. He's back. He wears the number 3 jersey. Outside him, number 6, David Kenny, is a name that would be familiar to a lot of our viewers. He has a rich underage pedigree with Mayo, also a very talented hurler with Turin. While up front, Fergal Boland, a member of the Mayo senior panel for the last number of years, he wears 11. He's a player a lot of people are looking forward to watching in action this evening. While Darren Duffy, top scorer here for Aghamore in that aforementioned league game 7 weeks ago, he wears 15 and is a player who is very capable of running up a big score if he gets a chance. James Lyons is the Aghamore captain, and he wears number 8. Just to take a quick look at the Aghamore subs bench then, with that one change, number 17, Conor Kilkenny starting. That means number 7, Dan Duffy, drops to the bench. And one name that will jump out at you from the Aghamore subs when you see them is number 20, Alan Freeman, who had transferred over to play his club football in Dubai for the last season or two. He's back in the Aghamore colours, the former Mayo forward, and what a boost it is to have Alan Freeman back in their ranks again for this 2021 championship. Well, the action will be getting underway very shortly. Before we do get underway here, though, we will have a minute's silence in memory of the late Patricia Buchanan Nee McHale, a sister of David McHale, the Knockmore captain. Patricia, who passed away earlier this week and is remembered here this evening. Well, a very poignant moment silence there in memory of the late Patricia Buchanan. Ní McHale really has cast a long shadow over the parish in recent days, as we now pause for the national anthem, which will be sung by Judy Langan from Knockmore GA Club. Well, that was beautifully done by Judy Langan. She comes from Knockmore footballing royalty. Her father, Hughie, captained the club in the 1997 All-Ireland Club final. A man who remembers that game well is standing beside me, Nigel Reap, the former Knockmore forward, the former Knockmore manager. Nigel, you're looking forward to this game as much as the rest of us. On paper, looks very finely balanced.
It looks finely balanced because even though Knockmore are the county champions, they're the team that people don't know where they're at the moment, because Ray had 3 or 4 lads, as you said, they're involved in the senior panel. He had 3 or 4 lads involved in the Mayo in the 20s. So he hasn't really got the panel together. He's had a few injuries, and signs was on them in the league. They struggled just to stay up, and there was a great game here between the two of them. Aghamore are on the form team, but we all know Mike Championship is different stuff.
Well, it certainly is. Declan Corcoran is in search of a football. It's not a great start. We have a big crowd in. Capacity of 500 allowed here this evening. The tickets had to be brought in advance, pre-sale. Looks like they've been snapped up, or most of them anyway. We found a size 5, that's the good news. And it will be Knockmore in their traditional saffron and blue. Declan Corcoran not happy with the first football. So we will have the throw-in delayed ever so slightly, and you can feel the tension all around us. This just adding to the drama that little bit more. But Knockmore in their traditional saffron and blue, they'll play in this first half from left to right, down towards the clubhouse end. Aghamore in their traditional red and white. And you can see in the middle of the field, it is James Lyons and Sean O'Ty going up against Conall Dempsey. And Shane McHale, and Conall Dempsey claims the throw-in. But Aghamore it is who set off on the first attack. They met here 7 weeks ago in Division 1A of the Senior League. Game finished in a draw, 1-7 apiece. But a lot of work under the belt of both squads in the meantime. Getting ready for this, the serious business of championship, as Kieran King gets on the ball. Lovely, stylish centre-back. In front of Aidan Orme. Came on against Tyrone late in the All-Ireland final 2 weeks ago. Looking to play it through to Peter Naughton. Dara Hunt comes out and takes the man, takes the ball. Just got enough on the ball there for Declan Corcoran's liking. And the ball is moved clear by Aghamore into the hands of their captain, James Lyons. His father, Jimmy, of course, one of the most famous Aghamore and indeed Mayo footballers to put on a pair of boots over the years. And James Lyons has really grown in to a leadership role in this Aghamore team. Here he is again. Support outside from Sean O'Ty. Aghamore coming into this game on the back of a convincing win over Claremorris in the league last weekend. That's a beautiful ball delivered in right in front of Ross Egan, the former county minor and under-20 forward. Early chance here for Conor Hunt, and that kick off the boot of Conor Byrne flies away to the right and wide. We've played just over 70 seconds, Nigel Reap. Anything caught your eye in terms of matchups or how the teams have set up?
No, a very benign start. I think Darren McHale has moved out to centre field along with his brother Shane. I know Conall Dempsey was in for the throw-in, but Conall usually plays in the number 12 position. But Aghamore just enjoying the possession at the moment.
That's Fergal Boland. Had his ankles clipped by Conor Flynn. Fergal Boland, a man who didn't make the matchday squad of 26 for the All-Ireland final a couple of weeks ago. And you can only imagine, Nigel, for a player like Fergal who's got so much work done, so much to prove, this is a big evening for him because he'll want to put on a show.
Yeah, it can work either way, Mike. You could have a situation where a guy is mad to get out of the traps, for want of a better word. But then we've seen it in the past, guys that have been, the number 30, number 35 in a Mayo panel. They come out, there can be a small bit rusty.
Well, he got a little bit of attention there after picking up that knock. He kicked the free himself down towards the Neffen end, and as you can see, there's a good gust of a wind there, and it just caught that shot from Fergal Boland, pulled it away to the left. Kick out taken short by Colm Reap, who also was knocking around the Mayo senior squad over the last few months. Third choice keeper behind Rob Henley and Rory Byrne. As the Knockmore cornerback Sean Holmes is penalised for over-carrying by Declan Corcoran. And anybody who's come across Declan over the years will know, Nigel, he's nothing if not consistent when it comes to steps.
Yeah, but I've noticed it in a number of games of late, Mike. The referees seem to be down on the steps. We do coaching here and we just say take 5 steps because referees won't pull you, but I've noticed in recent times they're right down on top of it.
So a technical foul. Fergal Boland goes across to the right wing, trying to judge the wind from the other angle, and that is a third Aghamore wide. 2 of them off the boot of Fergal Boland, 1 from Conor Byrne. They're spending quite a bit of time, Nigel, inside the Knockmore half, but we're up to over 3 minutes now, still no scores on the board.
Yeah, they're playing with against the breeze. Sorry, Knockmore carry the ball, and even though they have the breeze with them, you'll find in a lot of ways, as you see here, they'll carry the ball rather than kick it in early.
Well, we're watching the opening round of the Connacht Gold Mayo Senior Club Football Championship. We're on the second pitch, or the new pitch as it were, here at St Joseph's Park. And it's the county champions Knockmore who are trying to make some inroads, make some headway, but they find themselves all the way back inside their own half again with Sean Holmes trying to build from the back. Plays a 1-2 with Darren McHale, and Holmes drives right down the centre. Man making his move here on the right wing is Conall Dempsey, son of the manager Ray. And Conall Dempsey's first shot at the target is wide on his own side. He was so impressive in that Mayo under-20 win over Galway in the Connacht Championship earlier in the summer. And for such a young man, he's already become a huge part of the game plan for the county champions.
He is, yeah, he's absolutely huge. He'll be disappointed with that because he is a fine kicker of the ball and he'll always contribute 2 or 3 points in a game. That was one of the best chances, yeah. You're right about the consistency of Declan.
Yeah, this time it's Conor Kilkenny who's blown for over-carrying. Free quickly taken by Knockmore. Just ran a little too long for Aidan Orme. Picked up instead by Darren McHale. You'd pick him out a mile away. That trademark swagger of Darren McHale. As trying to come forward now is Keith Rutledge, man who was a late inclusion in the Knockmore starting team. Now Aidan Orme looking to get inside Conor Kilkenny, who's pushing him out towards the sideline. Run made here by Darren McHale again. Knockmore looking to be patient, trying to pick their way through the Aghamore defence. Heavy challenge on Keith Rutledge, and that will be a free in to Knockmore. Well, they waited and they took their time, and eventually they found the gap, and a chance now for Peter Knockton to kick what would be the opening score. We're in the 6th minute of the first half.
Yeah, Knockmore's patience paid off there very well. Kevin McLaughlin is actually playing on the half-back line. He's playing at the moment at centre half-back, even though Conor Flynn is in marking Fergal Boland. It's just the way Knockmore set up. They like to have they always play with 7 defenders.
That is certainly one match-up to keep an eye on. Conor Flynn, the Mayo under-20, the man who scored the winning penalty kick against Galway in that under-20 semi-final. He's picking up Fergal Boland. Down at the other end, it's Peter Knockton, and the man who won the Golden Boot in the Mayo Senior Club Football Championship last season. He has the distinction of kicking the opening score here at St Joseph's Park from a free. You'd have got short odds on that earlier on today, Nigel.
Very short odds. Peter doesn't miss those ones.
So Knockmore lead, a point to no score. Aghamore with just those 3 wides so far to show for their efforts. Conor Kilkenny wins that break, wins a free. It's taken maybe a little too quickly there by Aghamore. James Lyons was trying to get things moving, but his teammates up front just not on the same page. And now it's a chance for Knockmore to come forward again with purpose. Shane McHale drives through, lets it in as far as Aidan Orme. Great man to show for ball. He's trying to get inside Brendan Harrison. Twists one way and then the other. Orme off his left. Lovely score. Well, it took some doing there to turn away from a defender of the calibre of Brendan Harrison. But Orme, we heard in the lead up to the All-Ireland final, he was going so well in Mayo training, and he looks to have brought that form into tonight's game. Yeah,
absolutely. Sean O'Tyke will be disappointed with his contribution to that. Shane McHale got the ball in the middle of the field, went by him very easily, and no pressure on the ball that went into Orme. But as you said, Orme did exceptionally well after.
Ball breaks in the centre of the field. First man to react is Liam Lavin. Not long out of secondary school, Liam Lavin, very talented hurler as well. This is Conor Byrne, back to Liam Lavin. Knockmore have funneled bodies back into their own half. Met one of the Knockmore coaching team on the way in, Terry Kennedy, the legendary Ballina basketball coach. He does so much work with Knockmore on their defensive system. And you can see already everyone standing on guard. Everyone knows their role, and that forces Fergal Boland just to try and think his way through. Now James Lyons. The Knockmore defence is set. Kieran King is sitting in as a sweeper. I can see Conor Flynn shadowing this man, Fergal Boland. Boland gets there just in front of the defender, but Flynn just couldn't resist. Just give him a nudge. Down he goes, free in.
Yeah, a bit of experience, lack of experience here on Conor's behalf. You know, Fergal just had the edge on him. He was well to let him off and just win the ball. Again, number 3, I think it's David McHale. It's David McHale or Conor Flynn said something to Declan, and he's laying down the low early, rightly so. That's an easy point for Fergal.
Well, Declan Corcoran is consistent when it comes to steps. He's also consistent when it comes to back chat.
Yep.
And that made it a lot easier for Fergal Boland. And there is the opening score for Aghamore. Just over 8 minutes gone. And they're up and running. 2 points to 1 then. Aghamore trailing here as Cullum Reap chips this one delicately out towards the centre of the field. Falls kindly for Kieran King. Referee is playing an advantage. Player chasing after him is Conor Hunt. King has made quite a bit of ground looking for Peter Knockton, who's made that trademark run out from the edge of the square to get on the ball in that corner. Waits for the run inside of Darren McHale, who times it beautifully, trying to bring it in. But that just got caught on the breeze and it's out to the left and wide. But when that Knockmore attack start to move with pace and when the runners come, Nigel, they look very impressive.
Runners come from deep. Look, nothing has changed since last season. Kieran King is playing the sweeper, but he attacks on every occasion he gets a chance. Darren McHale is so hard marked. He comes from so deep. He's so hard to pick up, and he'll be disappointed with that because he's a good finisher.
Man on the ball here for Aghamore is Brendan Harrison, who's missed so much football with a knee injury. Just got back in the last month or so onto the field again. Has played a handful, less than a handful in fact, of games for Aghamore in the league. And in to start a championship game here for the first time since 2019.
Ross Egan will be happy with his start. He's won the first 2 or 3 balls that has come into him there, even though Knockmore have swallowed him up after.
He's been marked by David McHale, the Knockmore captain, as this free is taken again towards Boland, who's moving closer and closer to the Knockmore goal every chance he gets, and he's just drawn another foul.
Conor wouldn't be seen as our, you know, I'm surprised myself at that, but Conor wouldn't be seen as, he'd be small and he'd probably suit Fergal Boland's demeanour, but he wouldn't be seen as an out-and-out man marker, because even with the Mayo under-20s this year, he kind of played that sweeping role, and he's struggling just at the start here.
So another one for Fergal Boland, 2 for him, 2 for Aghamore, and the sides level. We're in the 11th minute here at St. Joseph's Park. Knockmore coming off the back of a very disappointing league campaign. In fact, they only won 1 of their 5 matches. That was a 1-point win over Claremorris a few weeks ago. It's taken them longer than they'd like to get up and running this season. And there again, it's a misplaced pass from Keith Rutledge, intercepted by Brendan Harrison. The former All-Star keeps it simple, and now the ball back in his hands again. Harrison rarely puts a foot wrong when he's in possession. Conor Hunt switches across onto this left wing, support from Liam Lavin. Step by the challenge of Nathan Armstrong there very impressively. Kevin McLaughlin is after him. This is Darren Duffy. 2 men lining up for on the right hand side. One of them is Conor Byrne. He's a shoot on sight merchant, and again he pulls the trigger a little early. It's a 4th wide for Aghamore. It's a 2nd for Conor Byrne.
Yeah, no, the wrong decision all day long, because he got the ball in loads of space. Could have taken on Sean Holmes there or gone at him. Again, he's into a breeze. He's hitting that ball from just inside the 45-metre line. Just wrong decision. I see Red MC has gone down there and spoke to Conor Flynn just about the way he's dealing with Fergal Boland.
Ray Dempsey just here in front of us, the Knockmore manager, led his home club to their first Moncler Cup success last season since 1997. He won 4 senior championship medals himself as a player. He won't be happy with that turnover. Conor Byrne it was who won it back for Aghamore. Here's Ross Egan. Runners go left and right. Really good recovery by David McHale to steal the ball back. Declan Corcoran, the referee, saw nothing wrong with the tackle. That was really clever, insightful play by David McHale, who has been under the cosh a bit, Nigel, but he did well to recover the ground.
He did well to recover there. It was a ball, actually, Shane McHale was turned over in the middle of the field. Again, Shane has been out, so it's interesting to see how he gets on. This is probably Shane's first game or second game, certainly his first game in a month.
Here's his brother Darren, right on cue. Plays a lovely, clever 1-2 with Pierce Rutledge, who's wrapped up by Liam Lavin. And that was stonewall free. Liam Lavin just wrapping himself around Pierce Rutledge. And of course the surname will ring so many bells with so many people watching in this evening.
Absolutely.
The next generation of Rutledges coming through to backbone the senior squad.
Yeah, 3 of the lads on the panel there tonight, and Shawnee is on the sideline, and he's no mean operator himself. But the one thing that Moore have is free takers off both sides, and Aghamore need to be just careful on giving away the frees.
So all eyes on Aidan Orme. Very accurate out of his hands, and that was beautifully struck. He has a slight breeze behind him, but practice makes perfect, and by all accounts he spends quite a bit of time down here in the lead into big games kicking frees. It's his second point, and Knockmore lead by 3 points to 2 as we head towards the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, that will have settled Knockmore, because in fairness, Aghamore had the best of it for the last 5-8 minutes.
Chance now again for Knockmore to turn the screw. Conall Dempsey, that little shimmy to make an angle. And that's one of the scores, if not the score of the game so far. For a big man, he's got lovely, deft skills. And once he gets inside that sort of range, he was never going to miss. 4-2.
And believe it or not, for a right-footed player, he's better off the right-hand side than, he scores most of the scores off the right-hand side. He's a great ways of just, showing inside, coming back out on the outside and putting that ball over the bar as he did there. But Conall will be delighted with that.
That's Knockmore's second score from play. It's their 4th in all. Double scores here at St. Joseph's Park in the Connacht Gold Mayo Senior Club Football Championship. Group 2 has Knockmore and Aghamore and Charlestown and Belmullet. And it's one of those groups that you just know in your heart and soul there will be a few twists and turns before the dust settles at the end of round 3. Brilliant. Here's Conall Dempsey again, timing his run, but Sean O'Tighe was alive to it and he did really well. And Declan Corcoran again felt it was all fair. And Aghamore will try and break at pace. James Lyons. Very skillful number 8, but he's taken too much out of that ball. He just never sensed the 2 Knockmore men gaining on him on his blind side. Ball turned over, and that is what Knockmore do so well. Marcus Park, the only man starting for Knockmore this evening who didn't start the county final 12 months ago, to Conall Dempsey. Now Peter Naughton, who has drifted outside the 45, member of the Sligo senior panel for the last couple of seasons. Pierce Rutledge. Everybody is marked tightly inside. So Knockmore, this time it's their turn to try and probe patiently for a gap. That's Marcus Park. It's beyond Keith Rutledge. And that move broke down very quickly.
Yeah, poor ball. I think both the lads there have a small bit of blame. I think Aghamore, Mike, are standing off Knockmore way too much. I think they have to get up. If you allow Knockmore all that time, they'll pick out the Kevin McLaughlins of these guys. You give them time, they're going to pick out Aidan Orme here in space again.
That Aghamore attack broke down again very easily. It's worked through to Peter Naughton, and that is very easy. In fact, from an Aghamore perspective, too easy. 16 minutes gone, 2 points for Peter Naughton, 5 for Knockmore. The gap is out to 3. And by the looks of things, our referee Declan Corcoran from Island 80 feels now is a good time to blow for the water break, which will break up this first half. It will give Knockmore a chance to reflect on what they've done well, and Aghamore a chance maybe to reflect on what they haven't done so well. 5-2, Nigel. Is it a fair reflection of what we've seen, or is there more to it than that?
Well, it's probably not, because Aghamore had 2 or 3 chances early on. They snatched at it on a few occasions, but I'd say they'll be very disappointed, the more management, Paddy and the boys there, with the way they have handled the last number of minutes, because they've stood off Knockmore. They haven't put any pressure at all on the ball that's coming in from the middle of the field. Knockmore outside the 45-metre line have played the ball over and back, and what that does, Brendan Harrison I'm sure will be down there telling them all about it. It's impossible to mark Airdrie Norm if you don't put any pressure on the ball that's out the field, and Aghamore are not doing that. And they've turned the last two balls, as you said, the ball was turned over here by the two McHales, and the last ball that was turned over on the far side ends up with a point. And no pressure again on Aidan Norum, plays it into Peter Knockton. Peter Knockton could have taken the mark, but he had so much time he just turned and kicked it over the bar.
I'm just curious, Nigel, as we watch the Knockmore management team come back in off the field. Stephen Sweeney is there, Alan Malloy, Terry Kennedy, as I mentioned, Ray Dempsey as well. What will the message have been there? Keep doing what you're doing, or is there room for improvement?
I think he'll last them up it again for the next 10 or 15 minutes. Young Pierce Rutledge has won 2 great breaking balls there. Kieran King is pushing right up. Like Knockmore again have the breeze. More just look like they've come here maybe to contain, which against Knockmore I think that's a huge mistake.
So everybody good to go. Everybody's got some water on board. It's a lovely evening here in Knockmore. We're on the shores of Lough Conn. Plenty of fishermen out in the River Moy actually this evening on the way down. It's that time of the year again. But the main focus here, the only focus here at St. Joseph's Park at the moment is this round 1 senior championship game. And again, Knockmore are beginning to gain the upper hand. That's McLaughlin to Darren McHale. And that is a superb point from Darren McHale. Well, sometimes you can see the quality come to the surface, and the two county men, McLaughlin and Darren McHale, combine. He's a beautiful striker of a ball, 6'2".
Absolutely. I love the way he gets over the ball. It's like he gets his head down right over it, and little space for error then on that. But the one thing again, very desperately disappointed from Aghamore. Knockmore really controlling here in the middle of the field. Pierce Rutledge again on the breaking ball.
Knockmore really now beginning to dominate, as Nigel said, in the middle. Dara Hunt is having issues with his kickouts as Knockmore press, and now they're in behind. Chance for Conall Dempsey. He's rattled the crossbar, and his dad Ray looks to the heavens. He knows that was one that got away. Dara Hunt was beaten. Well, I think if memory serves me right, if Ray got into that sort of position, he would have done the same thing. He would have put the head down and let fly. Conall denied by the bar.
He's a bit unlucky, but it was lack of composure at the same time, because he was right in on goal. He was coming in at a great angle. He could have picked either side. He went for power. I know you can know by Ray's reaction that's exactly what he's saying, but they're in huge trouble on their kick out.
Well, he was a really good man to stick a goal, Ray Dempsey, back in the day himself, and you can be sure there'll be a conversation or two over the weekend had about that chance that was missed by Conall. But they also missed the follow-up chance, as you saw. So it remains 6 points to 2. But no doubt right now, Nigel, who's in the driving seat. And Aghamore just struggling to get their hands on the ball around the middle.
Yeah, and you know, Knockmore are doing reasonably well, but I honestly believe Knockmore are still not in top gear. Ignore might take a yellow here for pulling somebody back.
Declan Corcoran just grabbing a quick word with Aidan Norm.
Yeah.
And it definitely takes one to know one. Nigel Reap had called that yellow card before it came out of his pocket.
Well, it's not that. It's years of watching Declan's demeanour. He was going for the pocket a long way before he got to Aidan.
So game restarts. Fergal Boland, support outside, and coming at speed is Conall Hessian. This is Ross Egan. Nice move. Foul on Boland, free in. It was getting closer and closer to the large parallelogram, but not quite close enough.
No, and
they get the free.
And in fairness to Declan, he is absolutely a perfect view on the back of that. I would say Ross Egan, when he got that ball, was halfway in on goal. He had a chance to get off the shot, and he actually played the ball a small bit back over his shoulder. The one thing I was just going to say, Mike, if Aghamore want to get anything out this, they have to run at Knockmore. Conor Flynn has taken up Fergal Boland. Kieran King likes to sweep a small bit. There is an opportunity there to go with the heart and Knockmore defence, and that's the first time they've actually done it.
Well, that free from Fergal Boland is his third, and it's now 6 points to 3. So Aghamore is still very much within reach, but Knockmore growing in confidence the longer this game goes on. Here's Keith Rutledge coming right down the centre. Nobody at home in the Aghamore defence. That one, though, just comes in enough. Well, the umpire took a good long look at it to make sure. Lovely score on the run from Keith Rutledge. It's another one of the Knockmore forwards now. We're off the mark, but Keith, just look how quickly they move from end to end.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Again, young Reeve, Colin Reeve's kickouts have a huge part in it. He can hit any side of the field, and the minute somebody moves, he has them picked out. But Aghamore are in huge trouble on their own kickouts. I don't know what the stats are on their own kickouts, but they're definitely less, down at maybe 10%.
Well, they're getting cleaned out on their own kickout in the last 10 or 15 minutes, Aghamore, and it's creating huge issues for Paddy Finnegan and his management team as well, as they try to figure out their best move or their next move. 4 points down, it's as much as you'd want to be letting Knockmore get out of reach, really, Nigel. Any bigger now, and this could start to get away from Aghamore.
Yeah, Aghamore are setting up a line maybe about 70 metres from their own goal, but they're not really tackling anybody when they come into it. They're not really putting pressure. They're just staying there. Their two midfielders in particular are need to make up their mind whether to engage with Shane McHale maybe and Kevin McLaughlin coming through, or at least stand back and then tackle, but they're getting caught in no man's land.
Well, 5 of Knockmore's starting forwards have scored so far. Pierce Rutledge is the only one of the 6 yet to open his account. That will tell you that the problems really are coming from all angles for Aghamore. The threats can come from anywhere. And they're on the back foot here again, as just look where Colm Reap is, the goalkeeper, doing a Niall Morgan or a Rory Began on it. Takes that ball just inside the Aghamore half. Now Peter Knockton, he's winding up Conor McManus style there for a moment, but decided against it. Conall Dempsey clips it forward to Marcus Park up from corner back. Knockton always seems to have so much time on the ball. Shane McHale into the brother Darren. 4 Aghamore men moved in to challenge, so there has to be space, and there is. It's Peter Knockton. They've worked that opening beautifully. Keith Rutledge tries to keep it in play, and he did, but nobody at home in a Knockmore jersey, and instead it's cut out back there by Conall Hession, the Aghamore right corner back. Aghamore did well to get away with that. Now the ball is moved with the boot down towards Liam Lavin. Now Conor Hunt, and into the centre to Robert Lyons. Darren Duffy just moves across the halfway line, his team trailing by 4 points. This is James Lyons, the Aghamore captain, looking for the run of Fergal Boland. But Boland is quick, but not that quick. And it's just run away from Boland, who throws it out over the wire to buy himself a couple of seconds. And not the smartest move with Declan Corcoran around.
No. Silly.
So that sideline ball now becomes a free because Fergal Boland threw that ball away. Just maybe a little bit of frustration there coming through on Fergal Boland's part as Kieran King breaks at pace down at the other end. He's got great cut to him, the Knockmore centre-back. Loves to drive on in straight lines as Shane McHale. What about that for a pass? Outside of the right boot, into the corner. Keith Rutledge to Kevin McLaughlin. He's had a quiet first half so far, just linking play more than anything. A fortnight on from the All-Ireland final. This is Darren McHale. Again, he sucks in so many defenders. Decides to go back to Conor Flynn. And Knockmore sitting comfortably on a 4-point lead, in no particular hurry to give this ball away. Pierce Rutledge twists one way and then the other to lose David Kenny. Pierce Rutledge, and now all 6 of the Knockmore forwards have scored, and that was beautifully done. They went from left to right to centre, and in the end Pierce Rutledge kicks it up and over the bar.
Again, Aghamore keep making the point about this blanket they have, but they're still not playing a sweeper in front of their full back line, and Keith Rutledge is giving Conall Hession a real run around in there, and he's winning the ball at his ease.
So the gap now out to 5 points, and certainly for a team who were not firing on all cylinders in the senior league, Knockmore have got the show on the road here in the first half again. Looking to go back to back, of course, in terms of winning county championships this season, but a lot of football to be played. It's a wide open race for the Moclair Cup again this season. As Sean O'Tide cuts through, he has seen enough. He goes for the long range score off the outside of the right and away for a 5th miss. Again, that breeze didn't help.
Option, Mike, because there was no support on him. Aghamore are just, I don't want to use the word stuck to the ground, but they're not, they haven't got up to championship pace whatsoever. Knockmore just stroking this around, and it doesn't even have a championship feel about it.
No doubt the Aghamore management team of Paddy Finnegan, Desi Campbell, Marty Hunt and Paul Byrne have some work to do, and will have some work to do at half time. Knockmore dictating the pace and the tempo, and that's a lovely ball from Pierce Rutledge to Conall Dempsey. Such a strong runner. Looking to lose Conor Kilkenny. He can kick off either side, works this one on to the left. That's magnificent from Conall Dempsey. The build-up, the sidestep and the finish. 9-3.
Yeah, I'm looking at all the markers on the Aghamore side, and they're all, most of them actually, Brendan Harrison is doing okay on Aidan Norum, but other than that, every one of the other defenders are losing their individual battle, and it's seriously hard for Paddy Finnegan to sort that out.
They go long again off their own kick out. Shane McHale had won it in the air. There was fouling anyway. And they really need to get a message now to Dara Hunt.
Yeah, exactly. You took the words out of my mouth, Mike. Dara Hunt's kickouts, they're too long in the air. They're a disaster for the defending team, his own team. As against you take Colm Reap at the other side. Knockmore getting away the ball so easy.
Wave after wave now of Knockmore attacks. They're hunting a goal. Pierce Rutledge. There's the goal that's been coming. Beautifully constructed and wonderfully finished. Kevin McLaughlin to Aidan Orme to Pierce Rutledge, and he gave Dara Hunt absolutely no chance. 1-9 to 3 points.
Commentator's curse, Mike. I was just saying about how reasonably well Brendan Harrison had been doing on Aidan Norum. Ball goes in and he sells himself, and Aidan Norum gets in by him, and Aidan Norum had a chance to fist it over the bar. He could have roofed it himself, played it across to Pierce Rutledge. Pierce Rutledge loads of composure with his weaker left side, six it in the net. A goal and a point for Pierce off his weak side.
Well, it's
and it
just
looks like they have an injury issue as well, of course.
Yeah, there's a stoppage here, and it may well be a genuine injury, but if it wasn't, you wouldn't be surprised either, because Aghamore need to stop this game and stop the flow. They have conceded now without reply 1 goal and 3 points, 1-3 in 7 minutes, and it's gone from a manageable situation to a mountain to climb all of a sudden. Knockmore are 9 points up and absolutely cruising.
Yeah, I'm watching Damien Mulligan down here in front of us, the Balmullet manager, and I don't think he's going to learn a lot about any of these two teams here today, because I know they have Charlestown tomorrow, but the following week they have Knockmore and Balmullet.
Knockmore in Balmullet. What a prospect that is next weekend. Right now they're still lucky, taking care of business here against Aghamore, but for once the inside forward and the man delivering the ball were not on the same page, and Aghamore have the ball back. Pressure coming on Conor Hunt very quickly there. Orme and Pierce Rutledge. So much pace in this Knockmore team, and they can make up ground so quickly, and I think they're on a couple of occasions the Aghamore man thinks he has more time than he has.
Yeah, but the one thing Knockmore, I know that Alan Malloy's forte is tackling, and the one thing he loves is tying up guys and making sure if you let anybody out of a tackle at training in Knockmore, you'll hear it down in my house, Mike.
This time they do slip the tackle. That was a good solid shoulder on Ross Egan. Referee playing the advantage. Darren Duffy to Conor Byrne. Yeah, angles tight, and Conor Byrne has managed to clip it neatly up and over the bar. Well, they needed that. It's their first score since the 21st minute, so it's their first score in a good solid 9 minutes of play. It just stops the rot ever so slightly, and Conor Byrne at the third attempt gets his first point.
Yeah, that's a good score. That's off his wrong side, and he took a moment. Getting a huge kick out from Colm Reap is collected by Aidan Orme on the 45-metre line.
Well, we're heading towards the half-time break, and Colm Reap's big booming kick out has turned defence into attack. They're in again. This is Keith Rutledge. Dara Hunt does really well, but he's touched the ball on the ground, and if that was inside the square, well, we're all waiting on Declan Corcoran's.
No, he's out. He's out, Mike. He's nearly
it's a free.
40, yes, 14-yard line. Keith will be disappointed with that. He got caught in two minds. Went on to his right side, went on to his left. It's a good save. It's a good save. But again, Aghamore, you're listening here. It's a clear evening, as you made the point. Championship football, lads will be talking, lads are shouting, especially if you're struggling, you've got 5 or 6 points down. And this is where you're talking about having leaders out there, and at the moment it's not happening for Aghamore.
Well, Colm Reap's contribution, his role in Knockmore's position at the moment, that'll be something you can be sure will be discussed at length at half time. His kickouts, his restarts have been huge. They're such a significant part of the game plan. And that move ends up with Peter Knockton popping over a nice point from a free to push the lead out to 9 again. 110 plays 4 points, and we're into stoppage time at the end of the first half.
Yeah, I think it can't come quick enough for Aghamore. That's a booming kick out. You'd wonder why a number of those haven't, and they win it. So you'd wonder why he hasn't done a few of those earlier in the half.
Possession won by Aghamore. They'll take the free, and in fact, because the Knockmore boys wouldn't step out of his way, Sean O'Tygue is given a good solid extra 14 yards into Boland, who gathers. There was a push in the back though. Declan Corcoran has called it from 40 yards away. Fergal Boland in any event blazed the shot wide, but it was a Seamus Darby style nudge in the back.
Absolutely, one of those I was going to say, you know, if the referee didn't give it, you wouldn't have. But it was a terrible ball in. Like, you're asking an awful lot of young Boland to put a ball like that into him. He does even well, but Aghamore have to look at it at half time. You know, they can say they have the breeze. Knockmore last season, we've seen it against the breeze. They actually play even better football. Watching the second half, Mike, Knockmore will back up. They let Aghamore come at them time and time again. They'll turn them and go back after. Something has to happen for Aghamore.
Of course, I mentioned Seamus Darby there. I'm too young to remember that final. I've seen it on YouTube. Nigel, I think you were there.
I wasn't there,
in '82. But in any event,
I was a young lad at home watching it. All right, yeah.
It's been a first half dominated by the county champions Knockmore. The goal from Pierce Rutledge in the 28th minute, just I suppose, making it tell on the scoreboard, making their dominance tell on the scoreboard. And before we break for half time, Nigel, maybe a quick word on what Aghamore can do, or where they should start if they want to have any chance of getting back into this game.
Well, they have to up the tempo. They have to get up to champion. Now, Moore haven't got up to championship pace. Raymond will be making this point. Raymond will be making this point after he'll making the point at half time that he expects Aghamore to come at them. Like, now Moore have kicked some nice scores, but they haven't kicked really what we call championship scores under pressure. You know, even in the crowd here, nobody has got up, to championship fever either. But where Aghamore starts on it, they have to step up, get into Knockmore's faces, take a chance and see where it takes them. The bigger issue with where Aghamore is at the moment, like, I know you might say you're already thrown in the towel from an Aghamore point of view, but it's 110 to 4 points. Aghamore have to get a good second half out of themselves there. If they don't, they're going into a championship match again next week against Charlestown, and all of a sudden your season can crumble before it has even started.
Just a couple of stats to give you quickly that will tell the tale of the first half. Just a 1 point from play from Aghamore so far. It came in the 30th minute off the boot of Conor Byrne, while on the flip side, Knockmore so far have racked up 1-7 from open play. The county champions, once they opened up and got up and running, they look very impressive. And at half time here at St Joseph's Park in Knockmore, it is the home side in complete control. Knockmore 110, Aghamore 4 points. We'll be back with the second half very shortly.
This butter is only half fat, but it tastes lovely. Like real butter, and it spreads.
It's because it is real butter, Dad, just with half the fat.
Connacht Gold half-fat butter. Make it real.
This butter's only half fat, but it tastes lovely. Like real butter, and it spreads.
It's because it is real butter, Dad, just with half the fat.
Connacht Gold half fat butter. Make it real.
And you're very welcome back to St. Joseph's Park in Knockmore. Second half will be getting underway very shortly. I'm just looking around the field and I see Aghamore have made at least one change at half-time. Number 21, that's Justin Kelly. He has been introduced by Paddy Finnegan at half-time. Just trying to see if anybody else has been introduced at this stage. I don't think they have, but the Aghamore team talk, it wasn't a million miles away from where we are, Nigel, at half-time, and you could see it's... Paddy Finnegan has a job of work on his hands, shall we say, to try and lift his players. They'll know themselves. They're off the pace at the moment.
Yeah, body language is terrible. Even body language, even when you're speaking to them, there is very poor. They have to show a bit of pride here. You know, I'm looking at that. A nice crowd from Aghamore, nice sprinkling of Aghamore supporters here in the crowd. You know, and they're desperately disappointed. Speaking to a few people there at half time, you know, they're amazed at how poor Aghamore are.
Just a couple of updates to give you. At half-time in Clogher in the Senior Championship, Ballintuber 3-9, Ballina-Stephenites 1-5. Stephenites, we're hearing, raced out of the blocks, but Ballintuber put in a big second quarter to put themselves in the driving seat. Another half-time to tell you about Ball, newly promoted from the Intermediate Championship. They're at home to Castlebar Mitchells, and at half-time they're trailing 1-5 to 4 points. Mitchells leading their double scores 1-5 to 4. In the Intermediate Championship, half-time as well, it's Ballyhaunis 8 points, Crossmalina 6 points. That's in the Intermediate Championship, while here it's in Joseph's Park in Knockmore, where we're waiting for Declan Corcoran and his officials to return. It's Knockmore 110, Aghamore 4 points. I know the club here are running a fundraiser for the Mayo Roscommon Hospice, teas, coffees, refreshments. Perhaps that explains where the officials have got to?
You're dead on, Mike. That's exactly when I passed there. Larita Blute was giving them all teas and a bit more, a few buns and everything else. So Declan was availing of them. And
Knockmore trying to
he can take tea and
get
coffee.
The ref on side.
Exactly. He wouldn't need a lot of water because he didn't have a lot of work to do, or he didn't come in under any pressure for any big decision in the first half. No, but seriously, Aghamore have got to go at it early, try and get a couple of scores on the board and see where it takes them. You know, whether it's too late to get back in this game remains to be seen. But what they have to do is get their mojo back, especially with the championship, another round of the championship coming up again next week. You know.
Well, Justin Kelly has handed the slip of paper to Declan Corcoran, so I think his substitution is in order. The linesmen, Sean Tolan and Martin Flannery, are back. They're making their way into their positions, and the second half will get underway very shortly. Knockmore and Aghamore have been waiting patiently for a few minutes. Aghamore,
Brendan Harrison.
Time is of the essence for them.
Yeah, Brendan Harrison, they've put him into full back. Brendan Harrison has gone to right half back, which is on Kieran King. Now that's, a false economy. Kieran King is going to sit back straight away. Now whether they're going to push Brendan Harrison forward, I think maybe they might, which will be interesting, and at least it'll show you they're having a go.
Yeah, by the looks of things, Brendan Harrison could well be essentially a free man, a spare man for Aghamore. Kieran King will try and fill the same role for Knockmore, but it'll all play itself out and pan out as the half goes on. Well, the second half has started, and already you can see Conal Dempsey there and Sean O'Tighe were getting wrapped up in one another. Petered out just as quickly as it had started, and away we go. Darren McHale on the ball. Knockmore playing in this second half from right to left as Darren McHale clips it out towards Kieran King. Brendan Harrison does really well, and a chip lift into the bargain. Class is permanent, and here he is again. Plays a 1-2 with Boland. Ross Egan came strongly out onto that ball, but it just slipped through his fingers. And it's really been the story of Aghamore's day so far, those unforced errors, those basic mistakes.
Yeah, in fairness, I think to both Fergal there and Ross, both balls came right out of the sun, because as they were coming to them, they were trying to cover or shield their eyes. The sun is coming right in over where we are here, Mike. But at least Aghamore has started. Brendan Harrison has got on the first 2 or 3 balls, and he's really pushed up on Kieran King.
Just to emphasise that point Nigel made about the strong sun, which is starting to drop down behind us here in the commentary position. Colm Reap is wearing a baseball cap for this second half as Kieran King gets on the ball. Lovely pass down the line to the first half goal scorer, Pierce Rutledge. David McHale has made a decoy run right by him. This is Conall Dempsey, 45 metres out. Lovely measured delivery to Aidan Orme. The Knockmore attack moving so sweetly. Orme, terrific score. Aidan Orme, not for the first time, in fact, for the third time, hits the target. He's a lovely inside shooter. And for anybody wondering, I suppose, Nigel, why he was in the Mayo 26 and perhaps how it was Aidan that came off the bench late on against Tyrone, he's showing why. He's in really good form at the moment, and he's so accurate.
Absolutely, and he turned there on a sixpence. And but again, I'm just thinking there, Robin Peter to pay Paul. You've taken Brendan Harrison off him. Who's in there at the moment? The young Kilkenny is in there at the moment. His hands is going to be full, and especially again, I'll go back to the point, if they don't put pressure on the ball.
The margin is out to 10 points. Fergal Boland took quite a few steps there, and he's just been hit with a bone-crunching tackle by Shane McHale. And belatedly, Declan Corcoran is giving the free in. I think he may well have given it initially, but took him a moment or two to make the signal. And you'd have to say Fergal Boland earned that one, because that was a big hit.
He definitely earned it, yeah. Shane was, I know Fergal is a small bit smaller, but the onus is on the defender to make sure the tackle is not high. It wasn't that it was head high or anything, but it was a small bit high. And I think Paddy Finnegan, in fairness to him, let Declan know before he made that decision from where we were here.
Just a stat as well that stands out from Knockmore's run to the county title last season, as Fergal Boland knocks over his 4th point from a free. Just 1 goal conceded by Knockmore in those 6 championship games last season, Nigel, and they haven't looked like conceding one tonight either. No. They're extremely hard to break down.
Their system is everything. Their system beat Ballintubber last year, it beat Ballina, and you see that at times in the final against Brafey, that they handled Brafey so well.
That's high on Darren Duffy. And the Knockmore man may be in trouble here. Was that Nathan Armstrong or Marcus Park?
It looks to me like it's Marcus Park.
Well, Declan Corcoran is not heading in his direction.
Yeah, it's Marcus Park.
Now, that did look high on first viewing.
He was gone past him. He caught him around the waist. He caught him around both sides. He did let him go. It's a yellow. He's probably is a yellow card. He hasn't given him a yellow, but I think it is a yellow card.
So Darren Duffy still receiving attention as Fergal Boland pops over his 5th point. Aghamore still just the 1 point from play in this game. It's now 111-6.
But I will say definitely the 2 midfielders have upped the ante, particularly Sean Oaktyke. He's fielded 2 great balls there in the middle of the field. He got involved with Conall Dempsey there. You've seen him. They're pushing up. There seems to be a bit more bite in their tackles. So,
well, in so many ways, this game reminiscent of Aghamore's last championship game in the quarter-finals last season. They had high hopes going in against Ballina Stephenites, but really didn't turn up on the day. Were beaten by 118 to 12 points, and that game that day had got away from them a long way before the finish, and it just feels like that game all over again.
It does, yeah.
Interesting to see Paddy Finnegan has moved Fergal Boland into full forward, and that looks like a permanent move, or at least for the moment, as they try to get some sort of joy in close to the Knockmore goal. But it's been a problem for Aghamore in big matches over the last few seasons, getting enough scores in big games like this.
Their build-up is very ponderous at times, Mike. They don't throw that ball in early. And again, it was, from their point of view, it was disappointing to see, because Ross Egan, as you said, had two or three chances early on where he was out in front of David McHale. He got the ball in and he won them, and then they stopped doing that.
Another half time just to tell you about. Now, the second half will be underway here, but in the Intermediate Championship, what about this for a scoreline? Park, Keeloaks Crimlin 2-7, Bonnie Conlon 1 point. That's as comprehensive as it gets, as Aghamore tried to come forward down that left-hand side. James Lyons spins out of the tackle. He did well. They're trying to work some sort of a goal-scoring opportunity. Conor Kilkenny has to recycle it back out the field. Knockmore's defence is set, and as we mentioned, once they're in position, they are so hard to crack. just that one goal conceded in the entire championship last season. That's Ross Egan. And I suppose, like you said a few times in the first half, that's wide number 6. He didn't have a whole lot of options.
No, he hadn't, in fairness. But again, Aghamore tried to punch holes in that Knockmore defence. Never going to happen. Aghamore have to come out to the 45-metre line. What Knockmore are very good, as I say, Mike, is this system. Sean Holmes, who's the cornerback, is the first guy that sprints out, puts pressure on the first guy that comes out to. He cannot kick. He throws it to Ross Egan. It's just a bit of a delay that allows the other 2 or 3 Knockmore defenders to get into place. As I said to you, Knockmore play consistently with 7 defenders all the time, and then have the likes of Darren McHale coming back into it.
Well, Colm Reap there has taken too long, I think.
No, he's bringing it out. I think he's going to give it Colm. He's going to give Colm Reap the advantage here. It has to come out. You see this new rule, Mike, about shouting at the referee or shouting at the goalkeeper, and this thing that has come into play.
Well, I think
it's a great ball from Kevin
the
McLaughlin.
management, all right, may have been making their feelings known. Now, what about this for a fast break? Kieran King clipping for the point. Could so easily have ended up in the back of the net, but Dara Hunt in the right place at the right time. But it just shows you how quickly Knockmore can get from one end to the other.
Absolutely, and Aidan Oram is livid in there. There was an overlap. There was a great chance of a goal.
Foul on James Lyons, and Declan Corcoran will want to speak to Pierce Rutledge as Paddy Finnegan gets ready to play his trump card. Alan Freeman, a surprise inclusion in the Aghamore squad. I gather he's back in the country at the moment, based in Dubai for the last couple of years. The former Mayo forward. Yellow for Pierce Rutledge, and Alan Freeman is on to replace Liam Lavin, and he will bring a lot to the Aghamore forward line.
When I heard during the week that he was available to them, I was saying to myself, you know, if you were in Aghamore's camp, you'd be inclined to start him. The one thing that Knockmore do, they like to play in front. You'd have a target man in there. Now, it'd be interesting. They mightn't even put him in. They might look to play out at centre half forward, because maybe the horse has bolted in that sense. It's very hard to put a full forward in there now with so many Knockmore defenders in it.
Well, he was on the ball there already, Alan Freeman. That's James Lyons, taken by Harrison. Here's Ross Egan trying to burl his way through, and the final shot was blocked, and there's 2 players down injured after that fairly heavy collision. The final shot from Connor Hunt, who I think has injured himself in the process. He was the Aghamore forward who took the shot. The defender who put his body on the line is hurt as well, and we will have a stoppage here.
Possibly,
let's hope it's not quite as serious as it
possibly
looks.
David McHale. Possibly David. It's brilliant defending. It's a double up. I think it's David McHale that's down injured, and it's Kevin McLaughlin who go back there. You know, there was that. This is what Knockmore, Mike, I know I'm repeating myself, but this is what Knockmore do so brilliantly. They snuff you out. Knockmore will play the whole game in their own half in the second half if they want, and the only time they broke, Kieran King should have got a point. Possibly a goal was on.
Well, this stoppage comes 9 minutes into the second half, and we're just waiting. It is David McHale, the Knockmore defender, who was injured, and great to see both David and Connor get back to their feet again. It looked initially like at least one of them had been quite badly hurt, but both good to go.
Yeah,
so
Mike, a goal would have been a huge score in the game at this stage. Like, it's 1-11 to 6 points, and
well, you can see there already Alan Freeman is trying to bring some sort of urgency and aggression to the Aghamore effort. Got in there on Aidan Oram and give away the free. Now Justin Kelly has done likewise down the sideline.
On Keith Rutledge. Keith had a very good first half. Now, Keith has been carrying an injury, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get another, if Raymond will be saying to himself, if we get another 10 minutes maybe out of Keith. Pierce Rutledge has been absolutely outstanding. No, he took a yellow card there, but his work rate back is absolutely huge in Knockmore system.
Well, it was Keith Rutledge who was fouled there, and that presents the opportunity for Peter Naughton. Knockmore's only point in the senior league, the only point they managed to put on the board, came here 7 weeks ago against Aghamore in round 1.
My understanding, Mike, it was a last minute penalty that they got. It was also a last minute penalty that won the game against Claremorris. So that's how close Knockmore were to dropping out of Division 1. You know, in a year, it's not for us to go into now in a year where it's silly, I think, to drop 2 teams out of the league when we have 2 different groups and they're not cross-playing, but it is what it is.
Well, the man who scored that last-minute penalty to earn them the draw against Aghamore was Peter Knockton. He's just missed that free. It's a fourth Knockmore wide. They've been very efficient and very economical, and that is just one of many reasons why they lead 111 to 6 points. James Lyons, again, he's trying to do the right thing, try to keep Aghamore moving in the right direction. Here he is once more. Ball played across to Alan Freeman. That distinctive gait of the Aghamore number 20. Man who scored some big goals, big points for Mayo during his inter-county career. Brendan Harrison doesn't score too many, and that pass was not what Conor Hunt was looking for. Brendan Harrison has missed so much football there, just showing his ring rustiness, and just look how quick Knockmore want to get it moving again, but credit where credit's due. That was a really good intercept by Fergal Boland. 1 minute he's at full forward, the next he's standing in at midfield. He can't do much more than he's already doing to get them going.
And I know Brendan Harrison, that was a bad pass from Brendan Harrison, but at least Brendan Harrison here at the beginning of the second half, he's come up here in front of us, he's demanding every ball, he's driving at Knockmore, he's making Knockmore turn, he's doing exactly what they didn't do in the first half. Nathan Armstrong has taken a yellow card there for an innocuous enough challenge, but it's a poor line ball from Conor Flynn that caused Knockmore to turn it over, because there was an opportunity for them again for them to break. Knockmore will be disappointed. Ray will be disappointed enough with the way they're, he'll be happy with the way they've set up, but he'll be very disappointed with the way they're bringing the ball out of defence.
Well, Knockmore were 9 points up at half time. They're 8 points up some 13 minutes into the second half. So it's been more or less even Steven during this third quarter so far. Niall Freeman across to Conor Hunt. Knockmore have dropped 14 men inside their own 45, and every single one of them knows their job. Kevin McLaughlin is sweeping right in front of the goal. Ball is brought into the tackle. Aghamore leave without it, and big Shane McHale goes down to take a breather, and just it gives Knockmore a chance to get reorganised, and it just frustrates Aghamore again.
It's a super tackle from David McHale in the middle of the field. Like he's low to the ground, he knows his job, he's seriously strong young fella, and once he gets his claws in on you, you are in huge trouble. Fergal Boland has been honest, he chases back after Darren McHale. I think he maybe caught him in the Achilles. Again, Shane has been injured. Don't be surprised if Knockmore think this is thing, they'll take him out of there.
I'm just thinking about Shane McHale there as
that
we watch
substitution I was saying to you about.
Knockmore make that change that you flagged. Sean Rutledge is in to replace his brother Keith, but so many of the Knockmore players get the headlines, but you don't win county titles without a Shane McHale in your team. His role is so important.
Shane McHale, David McHale, these are the guys that you can go to all the time.
Well, here's another one. The Rolls Royce, Kevin McLaughlin. Well, he hasn't had much chance this evening to stretch his legs and do what he's just done there, but when he did, it was worth waiting for. Free in.
Yeah, he has that. Look, it's and you know what, Knockmore system again. I'm sure Kevin McLaughlin at this stage of his career is absolutely delighted to go back into a system with a gang of young lads who are running all day long. He picks and chooses his battles now. He goes forward. He'll still kick us 2 or 3 points from us. He's been asked today to sit there in front of the back four. He's actually played a bit more of the role that Kieran King played for us last year, and he's letting Kieran King out. But look at. There's not much more you can say about Kevin McLaughlin that hasn't been said.
Peter Knockton, 3 points in the county final. It's 12 months ago now since they beat Brafey. And Peter Knockton has 4 for the evening here so far. And now that 9-point cushion is restored again. 112 plays 6 points. But as he was kicking that free over the bar, Nigel, I couldn't help but think it's a long time since we watched a big championship game here in Knockmore where you could hear a pin drop. It's a very strange atmosphere.
Absolutely. Now, look at the Knockmore people will be delighted. Knockmore supporters are absolutely going to be delighted to get out of this. I know Ray will be. He's getting vocal there on the sideline because he's definitely not happy with the second half performance. But you know what? I don't think he'll be. That's brilliant from Kevin McLaughlin. I don't think he'll be awfully disappointed if Knockmore don't set the place on fire in the second half. He'll have loads of work to talk to them about Tuesday night before they go to Balmullet.
In many ways, the last thing he wanted was Knockmore on Mayo GA TV this evening, I'm sure.
Probably.
But them's the breaks when you're the county champions. Aghamore have just made a change, by the way. Dan Duffy, wearing 7, who was named in the programme to start but didn't. He's in to replace Robert Lyons, the wing back from the other side as we edge closer and closer to the second half water break. And it's the champions who lead by 9 against the challengers from Aghamore. Pierce Rutledge, the man who put the ball in the Aghamore net. He's won a foul, or won a free rather. He's been fouled as he tried to go by the defender. Looked of the soft variety, but this again just slows it down.
Yeah, Declan is not going to allow it to develop into, we all make the points about referees, Mike. If you're a tough tackling team, you like to have the referee that let it go. We've seen this with the Mayo setup, Mayo during the year. Knockmore bring guys back. Last year against Brafey in the final, they like to have the referee that won't give the easy freeze. And I'm not saying Declan is doing that, but I'm just making the point there. It's an easy enough free to give at this stage, especially in a championship match. You usually have to earn your frees.
Well, it's target practice for Aidan Norm. Didn't catch it sweetly though. Breaks off an Aghamore hand, scooped up by Conor Hunt and taken clear of the danger area. Sean O'Tygue though, that pass was just a fraction too far in front of him. It left him open, and the big tackle means the ball's been turned over. Darren McHale caught late, no free, intercepted by Harrison. Alan Freeman just couldn't make it stick. Ball breaks kindly for Brendan Harrison again, and Aghamore get a second chance to come forward. Sean O'Tygue, runner coming off his shoulder, is the new man in, Dan Duffy. Tygue again. There's David McHale doing what he does best, wrapping up the opposition player. Free, quickly taken. Conor Byrne lays it off to Boland. Gets plenty of height on it, but there isn't an Aghamore man within 50 yards when that ball dropped, and Peter Naughton can take it clear. That was really a shot to nothing in the end.
Absolutely.
Activity on the Knockmore bench. Ray Dempsey is getting a message loud and clear, shall we say, to Sean Rutledge. Just telling him where he needs to be.
Knockmore have also pushed Conor Dempsey into full forward, and it's something we've seen a bit of this year. He does that job out around the middle, but he's actually a very good target man also. And just as I speak.
Ball breaks off the kneecap of Conor Dempsey. Here he is again. Doesn't need too much room to manoeuvre. Shoots on sight. And that's a fifth Knockmore wide, the latest from the boot of Conor Dempsey. And there is the signal from Declan Corcoran for the second half water break. And you can tell by the body language, Aghamore in dire straits. Yeah,
the show looks over. Aghamore, like it was token resistance there for a while, in fairness to Brendan Harrison. Fergal Boland has tried to lift him one or two. Sean O'Tygue in the middle of the field there for a few minutes. But again, you can't play football without the ball, and Knockmore had just taken control of the ball again in the last 4 or 5 minutes. It's an ideal workout for Knockmore, as I say, that haven't had their team together for a while. They would have never guessed it would have been this easy. I would be amazed if the likes of Adam Naughton doesn't get in there, maybe Charlie Burke, that Ray doesn't use this opportunity to get one or two more lads onto the field. And again, we spoke about this the last couple of years, Mike. The way championship is going, it's a sprint at the moment, So a panel is huge, and keeping injury free is huge. So just a couple of updates to give you. The latest we have from the South Mayo El Clasico, Claremorris and Davits. What about this? Davits 14 points, Claremorris 2-6. Could there be a shock on the cards in Claremorris? If there is, it will be the place to be, I would suggest, later on tonight. Can't see the Davits lads going too far if they upset the odds there. And another latest scoreline for you. In fact, the latest we have from Clogher is that half time. So just waiting to hear what the latest is. It just shows you, Mike, championship and league. Like Davits, where they were in the league, won their last game, I think, to stay in the division they were in. And I know Claremorris will be very disappointed, I know, at their last outing against Aghamore, and that was a game they needed to win, but, So Michael McNeve has come on for Aghamore as Paddy Finnegan continues to try and shake things up, just to try and get a look at as many of his squad as he can, because the games are coming thick and fast, of course, in the Connacht Gold Mayo Senior Club Championship this season. Next weekend in round 2, we'll have Friday night lights in Aghamore. Charlestown Sarsfields, they'll make the short trip to Aghamore for that round 2 game. That gets the weekend underway. It's a game you can watch live here on Mayo GA TV at 8 o'clock, while on Saturday at 4, Knockmore will be in Tala
to play Belmullet as Aghamore win a free in. And I was going to ask you that, Nigel. They're 9 points down, so obviously the odds are stacked against them. But looking to that game on Friday night against Charlestown, what can Paddy Finnegan learn? What can Aghamore learn from the next 10-15 minutes?
I don't think, honestly, you put yourself in his boots and there's not a lot you can learn. You're asking them to have a cut for the last few minutes, just get a bit of confidence up, like, I know he's going to go away and say, look at lads, we know we didn't perform, I'm more of the best team in the county, and he'll try and lift them in every way he can, but when he looks back on the video of this, they'll be desperately disappointed. The positives I can say to him is the only way is up. It has to get better. If it doesn't get better, they'll find themselves in a relegation playoff.
Well, one of their big issues so far has been their failure to score enough from play. Tackling. Just the 1 point from play so far. Alan Freeman is denied by the post. And it really has been one of those evenings when they have managed to create a scoring chance. They haven't been able to take it. 6 points from frees from Fergal Boland and just 1 point from play from Conor Hunt.
But I think that huge credit has to go to David McHale there. I don't think Alan does a lot wrong. He gets right in underneath him, gets close to him, and again you see the way Knockmore here break.
The transition is so quick, and Sean Rutledge was perhaps too quick for Darren McHale there. The pass was just beyond him, but every time they come down the field, they look like scoring.
I'm just looking at Ray Dempsey there. They're his favourite types of passes. He's throwing his head. They're the things he's going to show them. They're the things he's going to show them. The 2 or 3 goal. Now, more have had 2 or 3 half-goal chances there if they pass the ball. Shows you they're off the mark as to where they need to be to retain a championship. But they will, as I say to you, be delighted to get this kind of a run out in the first game.
Well, a few things would strike you watching the county champions this evening. And one of them is the speed of their transition. When they put their mind to it and they move that ball at pace, they do it so brilliantly. And it's more often than not started by this man.
Yeah, it is, yeah. It is, yeah. Creates an overlap. Modern football, seen it with a few teams are trying it out. You have a good guy in goal. It is an overlap. And I'll tell you the other thing about Knockmore. Knockmore have all seriously good ball players. All very confident off both sides. So they'll take their man on. And once you create an overlap, they have no issue taking you on.
Of course, it's worth mentioning as well, Colm Reap is no slouch out the field. He's a converted forward.
Yeah, played full forward all his life.
And a very good forward he was. An All-Ireland Under-21 winner in 2016 as a forward. But now rapidly becoming one of the best goalkeepers in the county, and surely only a matter of time until he makes his National League and indeed Championship debut with Mayo in the not-too-distant future. Aidan Orme still dancing around that Knockmore forward line. Back to King. You can see Terry Kennedy's fingerprints as well, Nigel, all over this team.
Absolutely.
That's late tackle on Conall Dempsey by Ross Egan. Declan Corcoran not interested. Waves him away. Play continues. Ball in the hands of Kevin McLaughlin. Shane McHale just taking a look around, weighing up his options. Came under pressure in the end though. He just delayed the pass. Somehow it's kept in play. I'm not quite sure how that was allowed to happen, but Darren McHale is not hanging around to inquire. Recycles it back to Marcus Park. Now Kevin McLaughlin, man making a break inside if he feels the need to use him. It's Sean Holmes actually who's got forward from corner back, just keeping Darren Duffy honest. Now Conall Dempsey won an All-Ireland Colleges medal a couple of weeks ago. That refixed 2020 Colleges final.
Yeah. But
every time I see him tog, particularly at senior level, I cannot believe how big a man he is, considering he's, 19, 20?
Yeah, absolutely. See, it comes from solid stock. Trust me, Mike, really strong guy, and what he has is huge pace. What he has is absolutely what you love to see coming in a cornerback. It's absolutely huge pace. And he's one of these guys that you put him defending. He loves defending. He'll stay there all day long. He'll deny you the ball. He can come out as you sit there and play a small bit, but he just loves the art of defending.
Well, there's Alan Freeman, and he hasn't lost it. Since he moved into full forward, he's looked more like his old self. Won the mark, converts it beautifully. And that is Alan Freeman's first score in championship football for Well, it's a few years now since he has togged out and played in this competition. 25 minutes into the second half.
He will be
12 to 8 points.
He'll be huge to Aghamore going forward if he is around for a while, because definitely he's somebody that can build it around, because as you say, there's an awful lot asked of Fergal Boland there. You started him at wing half forward, sent him into full forward, you know.
A stray boot there. It belonged to Marcus Park. Justin Kelly, I think it was, who was on the receiving end of it. So Aghamore get the free. So Fergal Boland is the man standing over this free. He's trying to hit it Sunday game style off the outside of the right. Super kick from Fergal Boland.
His free taking
brings his tally up to seven. Seven frees.
His free taking has been absolutely outstanding. The one thing Ray Dempsey will be annoyed about, that they're 6 points ahead at this stage, and they've had 4 or 5 great opportunities kind of to put this game to bed or to tack on a few scores. Like the one thing they've had brilliant at last year is when they got ahead of teams, they'd always tack on the score every couple of minutes.
Believe it or not, Nigel, they haven't scored for 12 minutes now, Knockmore. They've conceded 3 points without reply. They've certainly gone on to autopilot, almost unnoticed, as Peter Knockton tries to put that right wide on his own side. And if there's one thing Ray Dempsey won't tolerate, it's his team playing on autopilot. That's wide number 6.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I think you'd be disappointed, with decision making, especially in the last third. It's been very poor. And even Peter there as well, it's kind of a half-hearted effort.
So Knockmore just idling a little out in front. They're still keeping Aghamore at a comfortable distance, but Aghamore won't need too much encouragement to keep coming at them. Dan Duffy wrapped up. Soft free, says Nigel Reap, and the majority of the crowd here would agree, as Aghamore go long to Freeman again. He's that moving target in that full forward line now. Sean Holmes is the nearest player to him. There's a second defender not too far away either, as Freeman moves the ball on quickly. This is Darren Duffy. Aghamore taking the long way around, and that has allowed Knockmore bodies back behind the ball. Harrison looking for the runners. It's Fergal Boland. Angles tight, but this would be his specialist sort of range. Magnificent score from Fergal Boland. Well, his engine now is up and running. That's now 4 points without reply from Aghamore, and the gap is back to 5. 8 for Boland.
And I'd say he's going to change. Charlie Burke is going to go in and change something in the inside forward line. Norm is going to come back out. Ray will be annoyed with that. It's a bit lackadaisical. Again, I know I'm making a point. For Declan, I know I said soft free. There's no such thing as a soft free to say. Free is a free, but Declan gives an easy free. Knockmore, Kevin McLaughlin is shaking his head there. It's not something Knockmore want. Knockmore want to get bodies in around you. They want to be allowed to tackle. They want to be allowed to put the hand in. So I don't think Ray Dempsey will be ringing the powers to be to have Declan refereeing every day this year, even though he's done a very good job in it.
Not easy to be a referee and come to Knockmore over the years. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But Aghamore have made a change. James McNeve is on for Ross Egan.
Again, it's a poor decision.
Down at the other end, Knockmore, well, they're going to leave empty-handed again. But just to recap that change that Nigel mentioned, Charlie Burke is on. Viewers of a certain age will remember his father, Tomas, the teak-tough cornerback who played in the 1991 All-Ireland minor final for Mayo against Cork, and a brilliant club player as well.
Tom is a super lad. And Tom went on and played at centre half forward. People don't remember the 1997 county final when we beat Kilshamagh. Conor Flynn is the guy who was come off. So they're bringing Kieran King will go back into that full-time into that defensive role. And Ian Norm has been brought out centre half forward.
Well, it's 5 points now, the margin. It was out to 9 at one stage. Harrison injects a bit of pace. Darren Duffy. This is Sean O'Tygue. That's Fergal Boland. And Fergal Boland has managed to engineer a free. Well, he's such a clever player. Every time he gets on the ball, he makes something happen.
I know I made this point earlier on, Mike, but that if I was Aghamore, I'd be saying run at Knockmore a small bit, and especially when you have that's a terrible wide, and especially when you have a referee that is inclined to give the free when the hand goes in. That's a terrible wide, and it's a huge wide, because that would have put it back to 4 points, lads.
I think that's the first one Fergal Boland has missed. It's Aghamore's 7th wide There's a Knockmore man on the flat of his back in front of the goal. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Did he fall or was he pushed, as Mayo here used to say? But that miss from Fergal Boland has really let Knockmore off the hook, Nigel.
It has, yeah. Sean Rutledge has done well since he came in, but he has forced 3 or 4 passes there, and I know Ray is saying it to him there to settle down a small bit. Knockmore, you see, Aghamore weren't putting huge pressure on Knockmore, but it was Knockmore that kicked the ball away. So they just need to settle, get back to basics, reset, as you do say, Mike, and get a score here.
Almost 16 minutes give or take now since Knockmore scored. That's some stat.
Yeah, no, 2 points.
Only 2 points in the entire second half, and Aghamore have 4 on the bounce. Should have been 5, but still, I go back to that stat about Knockmore not conceding goals. If they don't concede a goal here, they still get out the gate, you'd imagine. But if they do concede a goal, well then things could get very tight.
Again, it's terrible from Conall Dempsey. You know, no pressure on him whatsoever, you know. And he throws a terrible ball to Charlie Burke. And again, it's a score that's on.
Aghamore have gifted it back to Knockmore there. Ball kicked right into the lap of Darren McHale. Now Kevin McLaughlin slips it through to Charlie Burke. Great save by the goalkeeper, Dara Hunt, who got his body behind it. But there was the chance for Charlie Burke.
And you would, trust me, Mike, if anybody in the present Knockmore panel gets a chance, you wanted Charlie Burke, because this is what this guy makes his money on, makes his living on. You know, he was on that minor team a couple of years ago. He played off Keelan Hopkins, who's out injured, and he scored a power of goals. He's actually extra. No, it's a great save. It is a great save.
Well, Dara Hunt will be dining out on that one for a while.
Again, you know, a point even at that stage, it'd be important. You know, it's not nervous for Knockmore at the moment, but it might get nervous, you know. Kieran Langan is coming on, and that is definitely to settle things down.
Well, there's a stoppage here because Conall Dempsey is receiving treatment. Now the game has restarted. Kieran Langan is on his way in with the slip. But I think Kieran is around long enough to know he might have to wait a little longer.
Darren is off.
Well, the change is made, with or without, I think, the official nod. Or perhaps he did get the official nod.
Great turnover again. David McHale.
Ball lost on the way forward by Aghamore, and heads look towards the heavens all around the field because another mistake presents Knockmore with a chance to go forward.
Right
Arm to Dempsey, and that is the offensive mark in all its
glory. If you see
glory.
it again, Mike, it's David McHale. You know, the guy, more player doesn't see him. He comes right underneath him, flicks the ball away from him. It's absolutely super. But this is just what they needed to settle the whole thing down.
Well, we're into injury time at the end of this second half. That's Conall Dempsey from the mark, and that's their first score for almost 19 minutes. It's 3 points for Conall Dempsey, and it is a 6-point cushion again for Knockmore.
Yeah, it is. Another young lad coming on here, Liam Durkin, I would imagine, who'll be another one of the newer players. But Darren McHale, of course, as well needed that game. He's been struggling with injuries, so Darren McHale he's got 50 minutes into Darren McHale, so he'll be delighted with that. You know, the big bonus is getting 60 minutes into Shane, and Shane coming through 60 minutes.
Well, just 3 points for Knockmore in this second half. It hasn't been them at their best by any means. They played their best football, really, in hindsight, in the second quarter, as David McHale again gets stuck in to the ball carrier. And would you believe James McNeve has been penalised for overcarrying. Sticky doesn't even begin to describe David McHale, really.
Telling you, he's been absolutely outstanding today. You know, you watch back matches and you say guys that are, you know, you just didn't realise he was as good as he was. But I think he's been absolutely outstanding out there today. He just does what he does so well. Now, Moore's game is around defending. In the second half, he hasn't played at full back because Boland went inside, Nathan Armstrong went back and marked him, so that put David out kind of on the front of the defensive line, and the front line, for want of a better word, and the amount of times he's turned them over has been.
Well, the Knockmore attack is rotating at the moment. Conall Dempsey now finds himself out on the right wing. Here's Kieran Langan, the Silver Fox himself, to Charlie Burke, goes low, blocked by an Aghamore boot, and tidied up by Dara Hunt. Charlie Burke denied a goal again.
Yeah, but inexperience on Charlie's part there. It was an easy point. Kieran Langan should have actually finished it over the bar as well.
Very poor piece of play by Aghamore. Time and again they've lost the ball on the way out of their own defence. Aidan Norm with a look-away pass. Knocked into Shane McHale. He's being encouraged to shoot, and he heeds the encouragement. And in hindsight, he may have been better off giving it off to a teammate. That's 6
and
wide
he's
for the county champions.
He's signalling into the bench there to take him out of it as well, you know. Shane wouldn't be renowned, obviously, as a scorer, but I think the second half, you know, the people that are watching it know better. I think it's been poor fare, you know. Knockmore have got away with a match that there wasn't a lot of pressure put on them, but I tell you, Knockmore definitely have to improve as well, Mike, because they're not going to be going.
Well, Ray Dempsey is taking off his son Connell, and he's brought in number 20, Liam Durkin, just to take a look at him in the last few minutes. But time running out now on this round 1 game. Time running out for Aghamore. Connor Hunt fouled by Sean Rutledge as Darren Duffy drills a pass in the general direction of James McNeve to David Kenny, All-Ireland minor and under-21 medal winner with Mayo. Another turnover, and there goes the final whistle. And that last passage of play summed up the evening, really, from an Aghamore perspective.
Yeah.
It was all plain sailing by and large for the county champions. Did idle and go on to autopilot for a spell in the second half, but recovered their composure and pulled away to win quite comfortably. To summarise, Nigel, ahead of round 2 next weekend, let's maybe touch on those games for a moment before we go.
Yep.
It will be, as I said, Charlestown Aghamore under lights next Friday night in Aghamore. A game you can watch live on Mayo GATV at 8 o'clock. And then on Saturday afternoon, what a mouth-watering prospect, Knockmore away to Belmullet. It'll be lively.
Yeah, well, it will. There'll be a lot more pressure on the tackle out in Belmullet than there will be here. But look, at Belmullet have to go up and play Charlestown tomorrow. I always made the point, I was out in Belmullet there for a couple of years. Weather plays a huge part in the game, you know, where, you know, depends on what Saturday evening is like. You know, I don't think Belmullet would cry if it was a windy, wet evening, you know, but Knockmore can mix it as well there. But look, at Knockmore have got 2 points on the board. Every one of the teams you'll see this weekend, Mike, especially the teams that might be fancied for the championship, the only 2 contenders I think that's coming up against each other is possibly the Ballintubber-Ballina game, you know. Everybody else, Westport to Ballahadreen maybe, you know, there's a lot of people asking about Ballahadreen. Knockmore have got a game under the belt, far more worrying scenario. They end up in a situation. Now, they have two bites of the cherry here and can still get through to a quarter-final. They have Charlestown, as you said, at home on Friday evening, and then they have the neutral game against Belmullet at the end. Both games are very much winnable for Aghamore. They won't win any of the 2 of them with a performance like that. And Paddy, it's back to the drawing board for them. And they will be saying, look at it, everybody will say to them, league doesn't matter. You know, maybe that they felt because they were going well in the league that you come into this, it was going to be good enough. You know as well as I do, Mike, it's never good enough in championship.
So Aghamore 9 points down at half-time. They lose by 6. Just a couple of the standout stats. Fergal Boland, 8.7 from frees. Just the 2 points from play in the entire game for Aghamore. And right now their manager, Paddy Finnegan, trying to get them reorganised and rejuvenated ahead of that home game against Charlestown next Friday night. Group 2 of the Connacht Gold Mayo Senior Club Football Championship. Still has a few twists and turns in it, you'd imagine, but tonight it's Knockmore's night. 1-7 from play in the first half. Just the 3 points to show for their efforts in the second, but they get the job done. And just to recap then, the final scoreline from St Joseph's Park in Knockmore on a lovely Saturday evening. It finished Knockmore 113, Aghamore 10 points.
This butter's only half fat, but it tastes lovely. Like real butter, and it spreads.
It's because it is real butter, Dad, just with half the fat.
Connacht Gold half-fat butter. Make it real.